A 2K IPS monitor with a 240Hz refresh rate and 1 millisecond response time for less than $300. This is the Titan Army P2510s. Full disclosure, Titan Army is not paying me for this video, but they did send this monitor out for free for me to review. The first thing that I noticed with this monitor is the box is very light, which tells me that this is mostly plastic. The very first thing that happened is of course the base fell out, but if your base does fall out like mine did, good news for you, this is plastic, so it's not going to destroy your floor. Titan Army was nice enough to include some cables, not just a power adapter, but also a DisplayPort cable, so the whole thing is very light and compact, including the stand and the base that it comes with, which clips on fairly easily by the way. The build quality isn't amazing, but it gets the job done. One of the big pet peeves that I have is it is fairly low. You can only tilt this guy forwards or backwards, so you can't move it. It does not go up and down, so I would most likely go the VESA mount route. It's a 240Hz refresh rate, a 1 millisecond response time. It's 24.5 inches. It has 95% DCI EP3 color coverage and native 8-bit color depth, and it supports HDR10. The two parts of this that I'm going to look into is the gaming experience and the overall viewing and editing experience. Gaming on this thing was a delight. Generally, when you're looking for a high refresh rate monitor, you're thinking about playing basic esports games or some racing games, and you're not necessarily caring too much about it being above 1080p. But at 1440p, this guy makes games look amazing. Whether it's shooters or racer games that you play, it combines very well at being able to play games at 1440p over 240 FPS. I ran some Marvel Rivals to hit at the confluence of an esports game that also has a lot of pops of color. This monitor handled it beautifully. As I still try to figure out how this game works and what all the different characters do, it's really helpful to have a monitor like this that's very clear, it's very vibrant, and high refresh rate so that I can see all the action going on. Also ran some Apex Legends, which is one of my go-tos when I'm trying to get some esports gaming done in monitors like these, and it ran everything very, very smoothly. This was a bit more of a test of the monitor than Marvel Rivals when it comes to the high FPS portion. As you're sliding around and flicking the wrist a lot more, it handled it great. Last but not least, I wanted to run a racing title, so I jumped into Motorfest. And as this game takes you from location to location from different decades of cars, it really showed the strengths of this monitor. Being able to get a monitor and right around the $250 mark, that's IPS, that's 1440p and 240 refresh rate, is a beautiful experience if you want to play games like this one. Now for the editing experience, colors are pretty bright, darks are fairly dark, brights are fairly bright, nothing insane, but again, this is mostly aimed at being a gaming monitor. If you're looking for a hybrid monitor to also edit, I would not recommend this one necessarily. It is IPS, which is nice, but it only has native 8-bit color depth, so if you're working with 42 10-bit log footage, this guy isn't really going to cut it. Don't get me wrong, it's still good, and keep in mind that a lot of the videos you make, whether it's for YouTube or professional work, a lot of people aren't viewing your videos in studio setups. They're either using gaming monitors much like this one or their TVs, so it doesn't need to be jacked up all the way anyway. But that is one thing to consider. Also the size, definitely a 24.5 inch is not the way to go for editing. But if you're mostly wanting to go esports competitive gaming and you want to be able to edit some Twitch or YouTube videos on the side, this is great. So overall, I think this monitor is definitely worth looking into. The build quality is less than desirable, and it's not incredible for editing, but at gaming this thing really does excel. So definitely look at your options, look at what you're wanting to accomplish with a monitor, look at the pros and cons, but definitely do consider this one.